Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the ZodWriter Show. I'm ZodWriter, and with me, back by popular demand, is APass, and we are going to talk about a lot of crazy stuff today. What's up, APass?
Uh, Nothing much. How about you? Hi, everybody, by the way.
It's just great to be here for another awesome live stream. We were
Yeah,
we were so successful last time. I figure this is the way to go.
yeah,
Um,
yep.
We've got Socks in the chat. We've got Bat Dan in the chat. Hopefully, no April Fool's jokes on the stream or in the chat.
Oh God,
No, I hate that stuff.
definitely not.
I'm
Definitely
not
not.
doing that. For a while there, we didn't really know if we were going to be able to do this stream because the weather's been so bizarre. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
crazy weather. Yep.
we got Lucas Ironside here. We got the Batman in here. We got Mr. J in the chat. What's up, Mr. J? No Man's Land. See everybody just kind of going through, seeing what everybody's doing here. Everybody's saying hello to everybody. Glad I could catch this one live. Well, yeah, this is what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to build the streams around based on our availability, and I don't know. And we're gonna do these streams whenever we can. You know,
Yeah,
uh, so so there's been a lot of stuff going on in the SnyderVerse, and
to
we are
say the
here.
least.
Yeah, we're definitely here for it. You know, there were some people that we know that were able to get tickets for SnyderCon, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Congratulations to them.
Hmm.
I heard that there's going to be a way for us to watch the Q&As online.
Yeah, I heard that. I think didn't Zach say that on the stream, like that they're gonna stream the panels and things like that.
And I think that'd be great. I'm
Oh
looking forward to
yeah,
that. I don't
I can't
mind.
wait.
I would have preferred if they did it where they had uh, a screening in every city
Me too.
where we could go like a Fathom Events and we could watch the panels live like everyone else in a theatrical setting, and we could actually see the screenings and the versions of the movies that are going to be shown. Because I don't know if the rumors are true if they're going to show different cuts of the films, but um, that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
it would have been amazing if they could have done that. But I totally get why they probably couldn't. But yeah, congratulations to anybody that got tickets for that because I know that they sold out immediately. So
Yeah. They sold out in 4 minutes, which is really fast. But
very.
you gotta figure there's a lot more than 214 Zack Snyder fans, so those tickets are those tickets are going to go fast, and that should show just how much of a demand there is for Zack Snyder stuff. Yes, have one in
Yeah.
different cities. You and I could have met up in Chicago. Yeah, that would have been fantastic. There's definitely a lot of theaters that could have facilitated it, but it looks like it's AMC, and then it's uh, that one in that one in California, the Universal for the IMAX.
IMAX. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, that would be amazing to see it like Justice League on that screen. Oh my god.
I mean the closest I came, A Pass, to watching Zack Snyder's Justice League on an IMAX screen was in virtual reality, where I had my VR headset on and I was sitting in a movie theater like environment on an IMAX screen, and that was the closest I was able to get to experiencing it like that. And it was cool,
Wow.
but it would be nice to see it in an actual real theater with real people. And
Right. Yeah. Maybe one day. Maybe one day they'll do like a sort of like a marathon. Like how they do with Lord of the Rings and like Harry Potter and things like that.
I know back in when they did the Dark Knight trilogy, back when the final one came out,
Oh yeah, they did that too. I
my
forgot.
dad and I went and saw all three of them together. I still have my pass somewhere around here where I was where you got this pass that you wore around your neck that was like that was like in a Batman shape, and it had all, it had
So
the
cool.
pictures for all three films, and it was advertising, and it was really cool. And it was a fun time watching all three movies like that, sitting through an entire marathon of movies. It was really cool, and it'd be something great for Snyder. Maybe they're going to wait until all five movies are released,
Oh,
and then do a full weekend kind of thing, and then do it worldwide. That's what I was thinking.
I can't wait for that day. That day will be amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to get there, because as the clues seem to indicate, and as Zach has indicated himself, there's all the fans have already pretty much figured everything out, which means Sammy was right.
Yeah.
The hand, Superman's hand being outstretched, means 5 films, and then the other hand is the fingers of the 3 films that have already been released. So yeah, what do you think of all that, APass? You think we're headed towards the finish line with the SnyderVerse, that we're going to finally get all the movies?
You know what? I honestly have a very great feeling about it. All that coming to fruition. Yeah, but shout out to Sammy. Oh my God, like she was on the ball with that poster and like decoding everything, and then to get confirmation that she was right. Oh
yeah. Yeah, confirmation with a stream full of morons that were basically trying to derail everything that Zack Snyder was trying to do. Did you notice that? How it seemed like Zack was super excited for everything.
Yeah.
And then, anything that he would say, they would cut him off. They wouldn't let him speak.
So juvenile, so like I don't understand like how those individuals get that kind of access. But yeah, I mean, like they kind of, no, not kind of, they did expose themselves for what they are.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like to be like laughing about it and acting like it's stupid or whatever, and then you have Zach saying it's amazing, and he like is like a little kid in a candy store, like he can't wait for the possibility of it like possibly happening. Even though I definitely think it is, to be honest.
And whatever it is, he's not telling them. That's the thing. He's not telling those bozos what's actually happening. He knows that there probably is some kind of a deal worked out. And what makes me believe that truly 100% is that Zach, remember how he stopped himself when he was kind of trying to formulate the words about being excited for Cell, ZSJL to Netflix, and it was like he stopped, like he was gonna say more, and he kind of stopped himself, and then just said, "Yeah, that would be amazing." Like almost as if he almost blurted it out and wanted to say, "Well, yeah, there's something going on, but I can't really talk about it right now." So it was better just not to say anything. But being around those buffoons, I'm really glad it wasn't announced there, because those guys are just those guys give the whole make him look foolish almost, because it's almost like they're counterproductive to everything that he wants to happen, which is something I'll never understand. If they're fans and they've literally got him on the panel, then why are they fighting so hard against everything that he seems to want? Like, he wants to finish his movies in live action, but these idiots don't want that to happen. You've got Chris Wong Swanson, and I'm going to call him out, the ping pong flicks hot dog eating dude. This guy, all right, he was there from the beginning, and I take it personally because I kind of came up in the Release the Snyder Cut movement with Chris. And him and I got to know each other pretty well, and him and I were both interviewed by news outlets and stuff in the height of the Release the Snyder Cut movement. And so I kind of feel a personal betrayal based on the way that Chris has continued to conduct himself since then. Like he embedded himself with those buffoons. So now he's one of them 100%, and he's acting counter to what Zack Snyder is all about. And the only reason they're doing this is because it's all about access. It's not about the movement. It's not about more movies. They don't care. What irritated me about Chris was he put out a tweet the other day about Zack Snyder continuing finishing up the SnyderVerse as anime.
Yeah, that was so.
Oh God. APass, I was dead. I was like, anime? Really, Chris? This is what your hot dog eating face is telling you? Anime is what we want? You literally have a movement that Zack Snyder himself has 100% endorsed. We've got literal t-shirts coming out. I'm sure they've heard the stories about how El Necron talked directly with Zack Snyder's people to get the approval for the sell t-shirts.
Yes, he did. Shout out to El Necron.
So, I mean, how can they work so counter against that? See, like the Nerd Queens and their Full Circle podcast, we got pretty much what we expected from them. They're all about themselves. They're always going to be about themselves. They're not about the fandom, and they're not about AFSP as much as they like to, act like they are. But
yeah,
with that and with that drunkard's stream, he doesn't have anything going for him. He's about the biggest buffoon I've ever seen in my life. If I'm gonna look at, when you look at failing upward, like I see a picture of him. Like, dude, how the hell did you get where you were? I mean, you were caping for Joss Whedon back in the day. Well, for 2017 Justice League, you were caping for Joss. So
shocker, huh?
How do you get? And then remember he brought Sean O'Connell onto his stream, and oh my God, this guy is something else. I just
that Zach crack, man, messes with you.
That's what it is. It's Zach crack, and it gets in your nostrils, and then it goes straight to your brain, and it's a dopamine hit that is extreme on so many levels. That Zach crack is a killer.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
And Sammy is the best. Yes, I agree. Sammy had it all figured out.
Yep.
And that's Zach called James Gunn a buddy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that too. That was something, wasn't it? When he said that?
I thought it was great. I was just like, yeah. It's like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, kiddo. Like, all right. It's like we all know that Zach is not looking at James Gunn in any type of high esteem, because you could tell who he genuinely cares about. You could tell when he mentioned Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, which to me, that speaks volumes.
It does. It does, definitely, for sure. Yeah.
Those are his friends. I mean,
oh yeah, they definitely have proven where or what route they wanted to take. But again, with the situation being as it is, you have to find other avenues to go down. So
yeah,
we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, you definitely have to find other avenues. I think Zach is at a point now where he's so kind and he's so polite towards everyone that he's not going to say anything. Like calling somebody his buddy is probably the the most offensive he can get towards somebody. Like
Yeah.
he's not gonna come out and call him. He's not gonna say anything negative per se. So it's just, oh yeah, James is my buddy. That's my buddy. Like, just passing. Like I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. And he's a cheap, opportunistic weasel, but he's my buddy. So don't worry about it. It's like he's not a problem. And the way, a certain camp is trying to spin everything, and the way the drunkard was trying to spin everything with his edited video the other day, I'll never understand either. But
yeah, what was that? Like, what do you, I mean, I don't even know why I'm even asking that question. I know exactly.
You know what it is? APass. I think he has people in James Gunn's camp. I think he is, again, they're about access for their channels. They're about that clout. That's all that they care about. They're not about Zack Snyder. They're not about the cause. See, the thing about all of us, we're this huge group. The thing about, you got Sil Nation, the Cool Table, Syndicate, the Mikeyverse, all of us, this whole big thing that we're in, we're all in it for the reason why it all works and it all flows together so well is because we all have the same goals.
Right. Yeah, we do.
They all have the same goals too, but their goals are access and clout. Their goals are not aligned with anybody in particular. Our goals are that we're actually fans of Zack Snyder, of his work. We actually care about this man and we want to see him succeed and we want him to be able to continue. And, they like to push the narratives that we're all overreacting and we're trying to push Zack into something that he doesn't want to do when he clearly has made it known that he definitely wants to continue. What do you think about all that, APass?
It's gaslighting, it's definitely gaslighting, and they're taking cues from a certain wacky executive that has been gaslighting us since he's basically, I mean, I'm just gonna say since he's been hired in a certain position. So it's not surprising. It's disappointing because like you claim to be a fan of somebody and you have the access to have that person on your streams, whereas you have other people that would like, I mean, you, Sil, Sky, I can like the list goes on. You guys, if he were on your streams, it would be a much more like productive conversation and it would feel genuine because there's a mutual respect there. You know what I mean? Like you guys respect Zack. Whereas I don't get that from the drunkards, if you will. I don't get that at all.
And and around the time when my book comes out and you and I get to interview Zack on the ZodWriter show, it's going to be a very different dynamic, APass. There's going to be none of us trying to cut Zack off in mid-sentence, trying to correct him when the man's trying to speak. Because I swear, when Drunkard cut him off and actually corrected him or put words in his mouth, I literally wanted to jump through the screen. I was seeing red. I was seething with anger with the way that he treated Zack. He treated Zack like he was a dancing bear. And they were doing like a little circus show, and that's how they treated Zack. They paraded him around like he was just a circus attraction with no respect whatsoever. You are 100% right, but I guarantee you it will not be like that if any of us get the opportunity to talk to Zack. It'll be a very different, very serious, and much more mutual discussion. It's like let Zack talk, let him speak. We want to hear what he has to say. Oh my goodness.
That's the other thing that makes me mad about those people having the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to keep saying access, but I guess I'll say it. Having the access to reach out to Zack and get him on a stream and have a quote unquote conversation when all they do is basically, like you said, they interrupt him. He never gets a word in edgewise. And that is not a good look when you constantly are interrupting like your guest whenever they're trying to, like, you know, answer the question that they may have asked him and they're not even letting him answer. So
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And oh, so fresh here says, hopefully that's the last interview Zach has with those ass clowns. Like honestly, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
if I was Zach, I would never go on any of their streams again, and I would start trying to distance myself from those nerd queens too, because it just seems like everything with all of them is counterproductive to the very nature of what Zach is trying to accomplish. And I mean, this is a good one too, TJ. It's above my pay grade. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great, great answer of, like, you know, like, because like you said, there were times where he wanted to say more, but obviously can't due to like business, like negotiations or reasons or what have you, or but yeah, I mean, it's just ultimately I hope that Zach sees these people for what they really are, and that is clout chasers.
Well, that's
You
the
know?
thing that I wonder about, because it's not like people haven't been sounding the alarm about the drunkard and the nerd queens for a long time. It's not like, particularly, and I've, you know, and this is the thing. Okay, you got the drunkard up there. Okay, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But to have Stephen Colbert, of all people, on panels with Zach, a man who literally made his career trashing the Snyder Cut movement,
Yeah.
dropping like just horrible statements on social media with regards to the Snyder fandom. There's a tweet out there, and I got it because I got it quoted in my book. There's a tweet where he actually says that he's not part of the Snyder fandom. He's never respected the Snyder fandom. He doesn't even care about Snyder's movies. There's actual tweets. There's like a thing of a string of tweets from this guy where he literally he is the most offensive, most egregious person ever. And to see him up there with Zack Snyder, asking Zack Snyder questions, is just it's one of the most like blood boiling things as somebody who's been there from the beginning can ever represent. And I'm not even going into my own, you know, personal back and forth with Stephen Colbert and Stephen Colbert's wife. I'm not even going to go back and forth about with all the things that they did to me. But my thing with them is he's not a Zack Snyder. He's not a Zack Snyder supporter. He has no business being there.
Right.
It's like, how did he get into that position? That's what I'm saying, APass. These people are, you know, they are the very definition of failing upward.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Yeah, it's above my pay grade. And we've got the general himself in the chat, Skywalker, the Jedi, with hashtag sell ZSJL to Netflix. 100%. We've been all tooting the same horn with sell ZSJL to Netflix, which, by the way, has done really well. Over 1 million tweets up to this point between the two hashtags, and you know, it just keeps getting better and better. And
bigger and bigger. Yeah.
I have my own little view on the poster. And you know, I have my own little conspiracy theory about the poster.
Oh, I want to hear this.
People keep saying that the fact that the Universal logo is on there is only because of the fact that it's going to be that the Snyder Cut is being screened at that Universal event.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that's the only reason it's there. I think that some sort of a deal has been worked out with Universal for the continuation of the SnyderVerse. I think. I believe this because for me it just would make sense. Literally, the poster is it's all you see the poster, you see the statue being all put back together. There has to be some sort of big studio helping to facilitate it if he's going to be able to bring back the movies. And while I believe very much in sell ZSJL to Netflix, and that's where I believe the movies will ultimately be when we do finally see them, that they will be on Netflix. But I believe Universal is involved in some way and is actually going to facilitate these movies in some form. And also another reason why I believe that is because Full Circle, the name Full Circle, when you think about Full Circle, we have to remember it was Christopher Nolan who brought Zack Snyder on for Man of Steel, who got this whole thing started. So who better than Christopher Nolan to facilitate some sort of deal with Universal to allow Zack Snyder to finish the SnyderVerse? And that's where I believe we're headed. That's what I think is happening, but nobody else is talking about that. Everybody thinks that it just means that the Universal logo just because the theater just happens to be a Universal theater where they're showing the IMAX thing. And that very well may be true. But I believe because Christopher Nolan is over at Universal, I think there's something more going on. And I could be wrong, but that's just me.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with speculating. That would be totally that'd be so interesting if that were, if that's what's going on, if they are facilitating in some way and there's more to it than, them just showing a screening of ZSJL.
Yeah.
That would be I don't know. That'd be amazing. Honestly, it would be amazing. But, the Netflix thing, we just got to keep pushing it because we've got nothing but a green light from Zach and even from trades that still think we're crazy, but they have given us, what's the word I'm looking for? The reinforcement, if you will, or they've been galvanizing us in a way with their analysis.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Zach is not stopping. Zach has told us time and time again to not stop. Don't stop. To keep going. We're pushing. Keep going. And he keeps posting.
That he does.
On his Vero account, posting all these things, hyping everybody up. There's so much going on, and I don't think that this is the end. I don't think this is the end of the SnyderVerse at all. I don't think that this is going to be a goodbye. And that's not just, aside from the fact, that Sammy basically unearthed all the clues about the statue. I mean,
yeah,
literally, there's so much there that why would he be doing all of that unless there was some kind of a deal in the works or already worked out for him to finally finish his arc? Because again, we only want two more movies to finish everything out. Anything else that comes out of it, the Ayer cut, or if we actually get that Ben Affleck Batman movie, or we get Man of Steel 2, or anything else that anybody wants, all of that would just be icing on the cake if we got to finally finish what the arc that Zach started. We only need those two more movies. So I think it's going to happen. I believe wholeheartedly that at the end of this Snyder event, we'll get some kind of indication that we're moving forward with finishing it up. And it's not going to be a comic book. It's not going to be an anime, Chris Wong Swanson. It's not going to be a novella. It's not going to be anything like that. It's not going to be an audio drama either. It's going to be live action. That's the only way. I don't know how people can sit there and speculate and act like those other options are what people really want. I don't know. What do you think about those other options, APass? That's my question to you. Would you want to see the Zack Snyder 5-movie arc finished out as an anime like Chris Wong Swenson?
No, definitely not. No, I want to see what it was meant to be,
Exactly.
which is live action. And I think any fan would, would say the same thing. But if something, I don't know, at the very least, if it can't be done in live action, then fine, go the animation route. But I believe wholeheartedly that Zach wants to do it in live action, obviously. Like, everything else is done in live action, so why shouldn't he finish it off that way?
Exactly. It's not like he doesn't have the resources.
Right, and that's the other thing. It's like if the next movie is basically The Nightmare, so you literally could use that volume technology. You don't even have to, literally, that's all you have to use, and you would just have the principal cast there as well. So, and I know that they aren't necessarily cheap, they charge a high price, but I don't know, it's feasible. It is feasible.
People forget all the time, and I keep saying this. I keep trying to hammer all this home whenever anybody says anything about the great Ben Affleck. He did the Snyder scenes for the Snyder Cut. He came back and did those scenes for free.
That he did. He did.
So I don't understand why people are acting like they wouldn't all come back for Zach. You have to understand, if it wasn't for Zach, a lot of these people wouldn't be where they are. Let's be clear. Henry Cavill owes his entire career to Zack Snyder, because before Man of Steel, you were seeing Henry Cavill in a bunch of low quality substandard stuff. He only, Henry Cavill's star only started to rise because of his role as Superman. He owes his entire career to Zach. So you don't think that he would come back for Zach and do something? If anybody in the industry has, stockpiled favors, it's Zack Snyder.
And you know what? He definitely has. But he's that kind of guy that wouldn't, hold it against.
No, not at all.
Somebody else. And that's what I respect. One of the things I respect about him, he's just not that stereotypical Hollywood player, if you will. He's very much a human being, like a genuinely good human being. Yeah, I mean, and even Gal definitely owes her career to Zack.
Snyder.
I know she was in Fast and the Furious before that, but I mean, Wonder Woman.
She wasn't big. Wonder Woman blew her up to a level of complete supremacy. Blew her up like a monster. She can do anything she wants at this point, and everybody will flock to see it. I can't believe that they trotted her out in that Shazam movie, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that Gal Gadot is a superstar because of Zack Snyder, not even because of Patty Jenkins.
No, it's Zack Snyder, 100%.
100%.
It goes back to BVS for her,
And let us not forget that Patty Jenkins didn't want Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman.
That too. Yeah, she wouldn't have casted her, she said, right? That's in that interview, in that article. Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. I'm sitting here right now thinking about all these people who owe their careers to Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
And Jason Momoa. My God, Jason Momoa.
Him too.
He was another one. The stuff he was doing, he's always kind of been like a steadily working actor. He gets gigs, he gets roles. He was in that failed Conan reboot. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But ultimately, he owes Zack Snyder for having the genius to cast him as Aquaman and make Aquaman cool.
Yes. He does. He definitely owes Zach.
And he knows he owes Zack Snyder. He knows that he owes Zack Snyder. Do you think that Aquaman would have made $1 billion without the Snyder fans?
Oh, hell no. No.
Come on. We're the ones tanking all of these DC movies, APass. We're the ones that are keeping these movies from making any money. They all fail because they don't have the support of the Snyder Army. That should tell executives something. If they want to take that position at this point, I'm willing to let them have it. Fine. You want to say that we're a force to be reckoned with and we're the ones that are tanking all your movies, Zachary Levi, then give us what we want and you won't have to worry about us tanking your movies then. That's the way I look at it. Like, okay, you know that the SnyderVerse is popular. You know this is something that everybody wants. So you might as well give us what we want, finish the SnyderVerse, allow that to finish up all the way so that we have a completed story, so that now when you want to reboot, you'll have the support and the goodwill of the fan base that you shunned for years. That is the ones that's the fan base that keeps tanking your movies.
Exactly. And that's the other thing that is so hilarious to me. It's like, are we a vocal minority or are we the ones responsible for, your movies like losing so much money? Like, it's like, which is it? Like, we can't be a vocal minority, but also be like the main cause of your films not being successful.
Which one do you think we are, APass?
Oh, definitely. We are the force to be reckoned with the box office. For sure. We are not a minority. I keep saying that too. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I keep looking around and being like, who's the minority here? Oh, yeah. I'll tell you who the minority is. Those clowns that are surrounding themselves with Zack Snyder cosplaying as fans. Those are the minority.
Yeah, and the Zachary Levi's of the world who think that DC should be bright and funny and hopeful. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with those qualities necessarily, but in the way that they've been doing it, no, that's not what we want. Not at all. And DC is, in my opinion, better dark, like darker.
Oh yeah.
And I would even say, like, with Zach's DC movies, there's humor in there. It's just not like a quippy Robert Downey Jr. backhanded comment. You know what I mean? Like, it's not obvious. It's very much like a subtle humor, which I appreciate more so than a Robert Downey Jr. like joke every 5 seconds in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Skywalker here saying, APass, so nice to see you on streams more often, 100%. Yeah, Skywalker. I am more than overjoyed to have APass teaming up with me for these streams because this is, it's so much fun. And APass, you know your stuff, and you are 100% awesome. So what do we got here? What else do we have here? Let's see. Let's see. You know who I bet would love the Cell movement? Tyler from Subjective Reviews. Yeah, he kind of quit the internet. He kind of quit the internet. Yeah, he quit the internet. Okay. He quit the internet. Yeah, because he got so much flack when he criticized the first Justice Con that he basically got bullied off the internet pretty much.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a shame. The man wasn't even allowed to voice his opinion. That's how he felt. So he should have been allowed to say how he felt without being bullied off the internet. I don't understand what the big deal was. Okay, he was critical of Nana and Cole, the Nerd Queens. Mm-hmm. I'm critical of them all the time, but then I don't. Here's the thing about them. I don't hate them. I understand, why they do what they do. I understand why they're connected to who they're connected to. I understand why they gravitate towards Zack Snyder. I know what it's about, but at the same time, I don't, it's like, I don't wish them any bad on them. I just wish that they would accept that, hey, there's a bigger fandom here. It's not just about you two and your 15 minutes of fame. It's not just about the stuff that you want. There's a whole fandom here that is working for the very values that the two of you claim to represent. You claim to care about AFSP. You claim to want, to help people. You claim to care about people. You claim that that's your main reason for being there. So you should embrace that, especially when there's other people in the Snyder fandom doing the exact same thing. They should have been all over promoting the T-shirts that the Trinity came up with for the cell movement. They should have been all over those T-shirts, because those T-shirts made like $1,000 for AFSP. So they should have been all about that. They should have been promoting that for the same reason that they had those AFSP representatives on the panel with them.
Right.
So to 100%. Me, that's what I don't get. It's like you don't have to like me personally. I don't care if you like me. I feel like Nerd Queens, I'm a nobody. If you don't care about me, it doesn't matter. But if I'm championing the same cause that you are, then you should be able to say, okay, well, it's for charity. I mean, ZodWriter's not a bad guy. I don't know him personally, but I don't like him, and I don't like the way he conducts himself on streams. I don't like his theatrical attitudes and things like that, but he's promoting the same thing that I am. So I should at least be able to find common ground there with that. And that's the thing I'll never understand. It's like, look, you don't have to like me. It's not about whether you individually like somebody if you're all fighting for the same cause. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's
I agree 100%. Like, put your differences aside. If you're literally fighting for the same thing and you're wanting to make a change, and move, like, I don't know, like it's just, it doesn't make sense. I never understood people like that either. Just because you may not share the same values outside of the community that you're in does not mean that you spit in those people's faces. Whenever they're trying to support something as important as AFSP, and then having wolves in sheep's clothing as your freaking moderators and kicking people out just because of whatever stupid, immature reasoning behind it.
Right. It was all personal with them, and it never should be. And that's why I say it's never been personal with me. I'm not personally against you. I'm not personally hating you for what you do or what your beliefs are. I'm against you because of the way that you're conducting yourself and the things that you're doing. I'm disappointed in the way that you're using Zack Snyder, pretending to care about AFSP, and then snubbing the entire fan base and aligning yourself with people that are straight up antis. And that's the difference. That's where we are. It's like, why would you do that? There's no need for that. It's like, don't you want more money for AFSP? Or the only the thing with the money with AFSP is it only matters if it comes from a certain group. Right. Anybody else that's doing it, even if it's in the same fandom, they don't care. And that's the part that nobody touches on. And I don't understand why they're doing that. It's like, to me, they should be reaching out to Sky and Leon and Sammy and being like, yo, you guys are raising money for AFSP. How can we help? That should be their question. How can we help? And I'm sure Leon would tell them, all you got to do is just tweet.
Yeah.
Tweet it out. Yeah. Tweet it out. Join the campaign, right?
Right, exactly.
They're not about that. They're about themselves. They're in their own little private little bubble. And to me, that private little bubble is detrimental to Zack Snyder, because you could tell he was uncomfortable on that stream. He was definitely uncomfortable on the drunkard stream. And
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that as we get closer to Cell becoming a reality, as we get closer to finally seeing the rest of Zach's vision, that Zach realizes that, hey, these other people over here have your back. These people that you kind of closed yourself off with do not have your back. They have their own agendas. They have their own reasons for doing what they do. And I'm in agreement with somebody else. I saw somebody else had said something about I think it might have been Leon who said that that Stephen Colbert is like a plant, like a studio plant or some sort of an industry plant. I believe that 100% because we know for a fact that Stephen Colbert is not a fan. And I'm considering devoting an entire chapter of Pause Not Stop to Stephen Colbert. I haven't decided yet. I'm like trying to decide if I want to add it because I don't want the book to be too long. It's already extremely long, and I don't know where we're going to be after the Full Circle event.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the month, I don't know what's going to happen then because I think that's when Pandora's box is going to just explode. So we're kind of yeah. So I don't know. What's up? Michael says, "Hey, ZodWriter and APass. With all of these other studios doing their thing, how do you think that Warner Brothers collapsed so badly?"
Ego.
Enough said.
I mean, that's based off of, the last few years of articles and things that Zach has said. And it's very obvious. I mean, especially with the previous regimes. And even now with some people that are remnants from that regime that are still there. So yeah, that's definitely a big contributing factor as to why Warner Brothers or why they have fallen from grace so far down. Which again is sad because their catalog of film and I mean they turn 100 this year too, which is crazy. So it's like 100 years of storytelling, but to end it off with poor decision making, and just butchering films.
100 years of screwing filmmakers and butchering visions.
Yeah, and I know that there is definitely a history of that even back when they first started too. But it's just
Oh yeah, they were screwing with Orson Welles way back when. So
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely there. That's their curse. That's the Warner Brothers curse. Is messing with creators' vision.
Crazy. It's so crazy. And Bat Dan's Thought says, you know what? You know what's wacky? The DC co-head not being able to attend a DC event because he's too busy promoting Marvel. I want to get your thoughts on that at APass.
Oh my god. I mean, when I read that that tweet, I wasn't shocked at all, but I was just laughing because I was like, it's obvious what this guy what his agenda is. It's so obvious. But yeah, it's very wacky indeed, Bat Dan. Very, very wacky.
Yes. And Mr. J asks this question: are you saying you won't talk over Zach when he's talking, Zod? I thought that's how it's done. I'm going to tell you right now, Mr. J, when I get Zack Snyder on this show, APass and I are going to interview him, and you are going to be amazed at how quiet we are when Zach is talking.
Just showing your guest some respect and giving them the time to talk. You would think that would be a guarantee, but it's definitely not.
See, the problem is the drunkard is so used to having Zack Snyder on his panel that he just treats Zack Snyder like he's any other panelist. There were times when he was talking to Zack like he was one of those other idiots on there with him. And it's like, dude, that's Zack Snyder you're talking to, man. Calm yourself.
Yeah,
Just calm
he's too
down.
cocky.
Oh
Way
yeah.
too cocky.
Yeah. He thinks he's just up there. Like he thinks he's, I don't know, man. He thinks he's like the Late Show host or something. I mean, I don't get him. Like, dude, you're a drunken loser who got lucky because you kissed up to the nerd queens at the right time and got access to Zack Snyder. That's what happened. You know it. We all know it. Let's face it. You didn't get some magical, you aren't some magical person that now you're friends with Zack Snyder. No, you're just an opportunist who weaseled his way up there, just like Stephen Colbert, who's another one that has no business being there with Zack with all the stuff that he said. But I digress. No Man's Land says, if they're so close with Zack Snyder, why not just ask him, do you want your fans to stop asking for the SnyderVerse? But they won't ask him that because they know the answer would be no.
Yeah, that's 100% the reason why they don't ask.
Well, and another reason that they don't ask is because they don't want to be embarrassed. See, this is the problem. When Zack got excited for sell ZSJL to Netflix, sell SnyderVerse to Netflix, they didn't know how to handle it. That's why they were giggling like children, because they didn't know how to, they were scrambling, trying to find ways to mask it. You saw the edited video. No Man's Land. I hope you saw the edited video that that the drunkard put out, where it was basically like a butchered version of everything that they talked about with Zack, and it made it seem like Zack was thanking James Gunn for the event, for the Full Circle event, rather than Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca, who are the ones that deserve all the credit.
For sure.
I just wonder how it would be, APass, if this, let's just say if James Gunn showed up for that event, showed up for for Full Circle. He comes on stage and it's just like what would happen? I mean, they are, according to Zack Snyder, they are buddies, so you know.
It's better that he's just focusing on Guardians of the Galaxy.
And Sox Bulletin says there should be a new hashtag when Zod and APass interview Zack, and the hashtag would be "Let Zack Talk." Yeah, well, that's what we'll definitely do. You know, you gotta show respect when you have Zack Snyder. Batman says, Zod, your conspiracy theories are dangerous. Oh yeah, I get that all the time. But you see, that's why APass likes me, because my conspiracy theories are dangerous. If I wasn't dangerous, APass wouldn't be talking to me. So I have to thank my conspiracy theories for my friendship with APass.
That wouldn't be the only reason. You're a great person. That's another reason.
I appreciate that, and I feel the same way about you. It's completely mutual. Sickness. Yeah, I agree, bro. The few times I've come across him, he seemed happier and more at peace, away from all that BS. Yeah. And Skywalker the Jedi says, we know what hashtag full circle means. And Graphic Vandalism, what's up? Johnny Alpha says, this isn't where I parked my car. Let's see. Zack Snyder told us to stop and focus on Rebel Moon. What do you think about that, APass? Why is that constantly a thing? Like, he wants us to stop doing that and focus on Rebel Moon, even though there's really not much out there about Rebel Moon.
I just think that's another tactic to like just get us to shut up and stop what we're doing. But it's like, we are talking about Rebel Moon too, though. Like, I'm super excited for Rebel Moon, and I know that you are too. Like, I mean, it looks, just from the little bit that we've seen, like footage wise, it looks incredible. Like I can't wait to see it. But yeah, I just think it's another one of the tactics just to throw us off, even though it hasn't really worked. So.
And Bat Dance Thought says, and to be honest, with Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and when Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 are successful, you don't think Netflix and or Universal will want to do more like Man of Steel 2, Batfleck, or The Air Cut?
Facts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, if what we know to be true is pretty much true, Zack is locked down over at Netflix for a while. And what better way for Zack to be able to work further and do more, and do more content that he loves over at Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not understanding the problem at all with that. Let's see. I'm gonna get through all your comments here, but I do have a super chat here from Mark. 1999 super chat. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, wow.
Mark says, when it comes to content creators, remember John Wick 4 when the bad guy stabbed the tracker's hand and said, if you pull the knife through or pull the knife out, it says whether you're a man of the cause or a man for yourself. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. John Wick 4 was dope. And that was a very, 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 very powerful scene. Have you seen John Wick 4 yet?
No, I really want to though. Like I've just been so like busy, but I definitely want to try and see it this week for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely an amazing movie.
Yeah, I loved the previous ones too. So
oh yeah, if you loved the previous ones, you're going to definitely love it. I think because up to this point, my favorite John Wick was the first one. Because I love how it all started off and the whole thing with his dog being the catalyst for everything. I just loved it. But then, like, the two sequels were cool, but to me the first one was better, and then 3 came out and that was all good. But I don't know. This fourth one was really deep. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Well, I'm so excited to see it. And then there's also like that spinoff with Ana de Armas that I'm excited about too. That what is it? The Valor? I forget what it's called.
Is it going to be about the hotel? Isn't it going to be about the?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure though, but like I just remember seeing on Twitter, like on my timeline, something about a spinoff or something with her and Keanu Reeves. So.
And Mr. Wayne says, damn, not even a novella? What about a board game? yeah, you know what? Screw it. Screw Cell. Screw continuing the SnyderVerse movies. Screw anime. Let's just do a Monopoly-style board game.
Oh my God, I was just thinking. I was literally just going to say that. Monopoly. Like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Monopoly.
I mean, we can be the little, who's going to be the little thimble, and maybe they'll have like, you could have somebody as, like a little Lex Luthor, and you could have like, and we could have all these, you could have Arkham over here, and you could have Smallville over here, and you could have, and we're all, I mean, come on, Mr. Wayne, that's a brilliant idea. I'm down. Hashtag release the SnyderVerse board game. Yeah, definitely. 100%. I'm all in. That's at least a better idea than a Monopoly, than an anime. That's a better idea than making it an anime or a comic book. Oh yeah.
God.
Oh my God. Live action or bust. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't agree with anything else, especially when we're this close, especially when it's something that, Zack obviously wants to do. If Zack didn't want to do it and Zack was going to be too busy with his other projects, I'd be, people don't realize, and they think that the fandom is stupid. Do you really think we would be doing all of this if Zack wasn't constantly pushing it himself?
Honestly, like, I mean, yeah, I'm not even gonna try to understand their logic on this whole thing. It's like he literally has been liking stuff having to do with the hashtag sell movement. I mean, even before that too, like, I mean, he's again given us nothing but the go ahead to keep pushing. So yeah.
If Zach were to come out and say, I'm done with DC, or these my DC tenure is over, or any way that Zach wants to say it. Zach could tell us in any number of 6 million ways that he's done with DC, and we would be completely okay with it. I mean, because then most of the fandom would be willing to move on if we heard it from Zach himself that he was done, because we would understand that Zach has other projects he wants to do. He doesn't want to be entangled with DC for the rest of his life. But this is obviously like one of those things where he wants to finish this story before he dies. This is one of those unfinished things. You don't want to leave it unfinished, especially when it's in you. It's bothering you every day. This is something that I have to finish regardless of what I do. Yeah, he has other projects. He's got the Army of the Dead universe. He's got Rebel Moon. He's got other things he wants to do as a filmmaker. But if he doesn't finish what he started with the SnyderVerse, it's going to nag him for the rest of his life. And this is what these people don't understand.
Yeah.
It's not that we're a fan base that is just pushing Zach to do something he doesn't want to do, and we're over here being the ones that won't let up. No, we're being this way because we have Zack Snyder himself telling us literally, don't stop.
Right.
All anybody has to do is go on Vero Social and see the stuff that Zach is posting, and they'll understand why the fans keep fighting. It's not about what we want as much as it's about what Zach himself wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been able to understand all the pushback we get. And then these people, they all act like they're angels around Zack Snyder. They all act like they love Zack Snyder and they're fans of Zack Snyder, but all they do is crap on us when we are an extension of Zack Snyder himself.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't. Not at all. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What's up, Davilia? Good to see you. She says, hey, Zoddy, I'm on break and just strolling through YouTube. Thought I'd say hello. Hope you are doing well, staying safe. I am. I'm doing well. Hope the same for you. And thank you. Let's see here. Try to get this going because you and I, APass, are going to wrap this up in a little bit. Let's see. Alan Moore style humor and darkness was pretty much Zach's take, and I will always appreciate that DC universe the most. Yes. Yeah. We got Rel McMillan in the chat. What's up, Rel? Good to see you. Bat Dan says, what's funny is a lot more people seem to agree with subjective reviews now. That video of his is like Man of Steel, appreciated more with time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, because they're seeing the behavior. The behavior is consistent, and it's also, it's what they've always been. And I think a lot of these people feel like they kind of like they're bulletproof now because they already have access to Zack Snyder, so they don't have to walk any kind of line. They don't even have to pretend like they support him because they're already in. They're already in the door, and Zach obviously doesn't watch the content that they make outside of the stuff that he does with them. So knowing that, they can say whatever they want. They can push back against the fandom as much as they want. They can disrespect us. They can disrespect Zach himself. It doesn't matter because they're already in. So they feel like they have immunity. So they flex and flaunt it all the time. That's why you see, the drunkard act in the way that he does. That's why you see Chris Wong Swenson asking about anime. That's why you see, Stephen Colbert of all people. I mean, it's it's about access, and they show their true colors every single time they speak.
Right.
The Batman says the true members of the fandom will always stand out. Those others who cares? We are championing the same cause, and it should be recognized no matter how you feel about someone. I agree. I
Exactly.
agree 100%. So I think I don't know, APass. I think we pretty much covered how we feel about this. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more to say once SnyderCon happens at the end of the month. We'll probably have it'll probably be a bang up stream that we'll do after that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that weekend.
Clout Junkie is trash without Zach. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta agree. And that's what it is. It's like every time he needs some views, or he needs to get his algorithm up on YouTube, he brings Zack Snyder on. Like I said, they bring him out like a dancing bear. It's complete exploitation. But I wanted to APass get your final thoughts so we can wrap this up. I
Well, okay. The final thoughts. Oh, you know what else we didn't touch on was the fact that Ben Affleck said that he wanted to be Batman more after the Flash.
I love that you said that. I am so glad you brought that up. That would have killed me if we would have ended the stream without bringing that up. Because there were a couple times where I wanted to bring it up, and then I started, reading the chat, and I kind of was trying to wind it down to keep us, us at a reasonable level. But yeah, before we go, we definitely got to touch on that. So APass, please, by all means. that's a great topic.
I mean, it is. It's like he keeps like knocking it out of the park, Ben, with all like the DC related things that he has to say and has been saying. I mean, I wasn't at all surprised though whenever I read that, because I mean, he just he said that he felt like he finally understood, or like, oh, how did he say it? It was like something along the lines of he felt like he knew how to play the character finally. Which I personally was like, I think you had it down all along, but I mean, for him personally, I guess this was like the time where he felt like he nailed it. But yeah, again, not surprised. It's just like it's on. And have you noticed that Gunn hasn't said one word after that first article with the Hollywood Reporter?
Yeah,
like he hasn't said anything.
Telling. That's very telling. Like why has he shut up? He shut up because now he knows he's backed into a corner. He can't. What's he going to say now? Ben is coming out saying about Batman and talking. I mean, talk about blowing it. I mean, really. You had Henry Cavill, you had Ben Affleck, you had Gal Gadot, you had the Trinity. You could have did anything you wanted, James Gunn. You could have made the whole you could have united the entire fandom. You could have finished the SnyderVerse, allowed the SnyderVerse to finish off, and then rebooted with you and your wife, and everything would have been fine. But you decided it'd be better to screw everybody and take a controversial position rather than go with what Pam DeLuca and Pam and Mike wanted to do. I don't get it. He's when Ben Affleck said that, and I also listened to the podcast. I went back and listened. I can't remember the name of it, but I went back and listened to the podcast where Ben Affleck was on there, and he's actually talking about it, and you can hear, the passion in his voice. Like, I finally nailed it as Batman, and he was really excited. And somebody actually asked him, and yeah, he definitely sounds like he would be down to do more under those conditions. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Charles Briggs with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Charles. Says, Yo, Zod, what's your thoughts on James Gunn and Peter Safran blocking Keanu Reeves from playing Constantine again? It doesn't make sense. His career is hot right now because of John Wick. Again, it's just another bad decision on the part of James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Yeah, it's God, asinine.
Peter Safran is responsible for Shazam 2. Just let that sink. Let that sink in. It's because of Peter Safran that we got that god awful Shazam 2 movie.
Yeah.
If you really want to talk about the only movie that I think Shazam 2 is better than is Matt Reeves' The Batman. It's the only movie that Shazam 2, the only DC movie that Shazam 2 is superior to. And the only reason it's better than The Batman is because it has that Wonder Woman cameo in it. How can you not appreciate seeing Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, regardless of the circumstances? I just don't understand James Gunn. James Gunn could have been the hero. If you really think about it, James Gunn was in a position where he could have came in and went along with the idea of finishing the SnyderVerse, and everybody would have loved him for it because it would have been like, okay, he's respecting what came before. He wants that to finish, especially APass, because he's not going to be able to get another movie out until 2025 at the earliest.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's the part that baffles me. Like, it's not like if you finish the SnyderVerse, you aren't gonna be able to do your reboot. It's gonna take time to get your reboot together. But I don't know. To me, it's like, we know that in the end it all comes down to money. But I really feel like when it comes to the SnyderVerse, I don't think money would have been the issue. Zach would have got it done. Zach wants to finish out these movies. It's not about money to him. And it doesn't sound like it's about money to the actors either. Again, Ben Affleck came back and did the ending for Justice League for free.
Yep.
So if it's not about money and Zach is willing to do it and wants to get it done, this is what makes me think that sells Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix, sells SnyderVerse to Netflix, very much can happen. Because it's not about money for Zach. It's not about money for any of the people involved other than WBD. So if you think about it, they could come out, they could make some kind of a deal. And I had researched this. This is one more point. I researched this APass, and I had found out, because I was doing research for the book, and I found out that Zack Snyder didn't take any money to finish Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember reading that around the time of the Snyder Cut too. Yeah. That says it all.
He just wanted to finish the movie and get the movie out there. He didn't take any money, so as part of the deal, so that it could be done.
Right. Yeah.
So what does that tell you about the rest of the rest? I'm not saying he's going to do Justice League 2 and 3 for free, but what I'm saying is that it's not about money for these guys. It's not. It's about the vision. It's about finishing what you start. Nobody wants to have a bunch of unfinished things dangling at the end of their career or at the end of their lives, because then you look back on it all and you're depressed because you didn't get to finish what you wanted to. It's just so, it's like, no, what's the problem? You could get Zach, especially Netflix being the home of Zack Snyder right now. You literally, if that deal went through, Zach would be happier than a kid in a candy store because he'd be able to finish his movies in peace. He's working for the company that adores him and wants him to continue to make movies there. And it's perfect for everybody. And then on the other side, James Gunn can do whatever he wants with DC Studios and nobody cares.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing too. It's like, well, no matter what, because that's just like the way that audiences and people in general work. It's like James Gunn's DC is gonna be compared to what came before, just like how Zach's DC was compared to what came before, and I don't know. It's like it would be so different if he would have just let the done what the fans wanted, and we would have been more I guess we would have been more accepting of the Gunn's vision if he would have just, been that that bridge to, like, not I guess like bringing the fans together. We were already in different factions, but bringing us all together by completing the vision that we all want to see.
Oh yeah, everybody. So, you want to bridge the gap, and you want fans to be together 100%. You want everybody to be on board because, again, you have Marvel, you have DC, you have all this competition out there. So it makes sense to want to get everybody on the same page, at least when it comes to, DC as a whole. And like I said, I would have no adversity towards James Gunn's DC at all if they allowed the SnyderVerse to be finished. Stop leaving all of these open-ended things, because what does that tell you about James Gunn's DC? Do people actually believe that James Gunn has a vision, has everything planned out based on that slate, if you could call it that he released? Do you actually think that he has a long-term plan that's going to be able to be fulfilled? If Zack Snyder couldn't get as popular as Zack is, as much as the fans are behind him, if Zack Snyder can't get his 5 movies out, what hope does James Gunn have for whatever vision it is that he has long term? See, these are things people don't think about. Fans are tired of getting burned. They're tired of getting left out in the open, out in the cold, wondering, how these stories end. Nobody wants to invest in a half-baked universe that they're never going to get to see concluded.
Right.
And that's my whole point. Like, when you watch Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, love it or hate it, you at least get some kind of closure at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, and you realize, okay, that's an ending. I could see what they're going for. I can see how, you could draw your own conclusions as to what happens next, but it leaves it in a satisfying place for most people. Right. Now ending everything at Zack Snyder's Justice League on a big cliffhanger with Darkseid, with the idea of Darkseid eventually coming to Earth, that's something we all want to see. You can't just leave it like that. You have to end it in some way.
Right. You can't go from Darkseid to Amanda Waller being your big bad.
No, it doesn't make sense. I don't care about Amanda Waller. I don't care about her enough for her to be the big bad to supersede Darkseid at this point.
Yeah, and as much as I love Viola Davis, it's like we literally saw Darkseid. We saw, it's common sense at this point.
Well, why do you think we didn't see? And this is the thing, APass. Why do you think we didn't see Darkseid in the theatrical cut of Justice League?
Oh, because they know that we would have went crazy. We would have wanted to see more of that.
Exactly. We didn't see him in there because they knew that they had no intention of following through with that storyline. Well, now, because you allowed Zack Snyder to finish the Snyder cut, you let the clown out of the box. Now you have to follow through. There's no going back. You cannot. Darkseid is too big of a villain to just say, "Oh, it's no problem. Whatever. We can move on. We can reboot." No. You cannot do that. That would be like rebooting Star Wars after The Empire Strikes Back. You just find out that Darth Vader is Luke's father, you got Han Solo frozen in carbonite. You don't know what's going to happen. Could you imagine what would have happened if they would have left rebooted Star Wars after Empire Strikes Back? There was no internet back then, and people would have mutinied.
Yeah, they would have.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. But that's exactly how this feels. This feels like Empire Strikes Back, where you're left in that same kind of a spot where you're like, oh my God, Darkseid is coming to Earth. You got these heroes. What's going to happen? And you know that Superman is going to succumb to the anti-life equation. I mean, what are they talking about? It's like you cannot do that. And I would argue that Zack Snyder's Justice League is just as popular as Empire Strikes Back was. And I know that's going to be controversial, but I'm saying it right now. This is where we are. Zack Snyder's Justice League is the modern day Empire Strikes Back.
That's a great comparison. Yeah, that's a great comparison. Because like I know I'm not the only one that thinks this too, but like compared ZSJL to like it being the comic book version of Lord of the Rings as well. But yes. Like that whole Empire Strikes Back comparison is awesome too. Like, yeah, it's like, and it also, and I've seen this too. I've seen people say this as well, but like, it's like Marvel ending or like rebooting their universe after showing Thanos for like.
Or it would be like, Infinity War. It would be after Infinity War, before Endgame. They decide after Infinity War, after they made a bunch of the heroes disappear, they decided, oh, we're going to reboot.
Yeah.
What? Huh? What? So you're going to just leave like that? You're going to just leave? What? And then you're going to reboot and you're going to expect the audiences to get on board? We're rebooting Iron Man with Justin Bieber as Iron Man. What? What are you talking about? How can you do this? We're supposed to be excited. We're supposed to be excited for Justin Bieber as Iron Man. Are you nuts? But that's the equivalent of what James Gunn is doing right now. That's exactly what we're getting. It's the same thing. It's like, well, we're not using Henry Cavill as Superman, but Justin Bieber sure looks good, so we're going to get him for Superman. What are you talking about?
You know what?
Oh my God,
I could see him hiring Justin Bieber to be Superman. I literally could.
That's why it's how I was feeling, APass, but I regret saying it because now if it happens, people are going to revert back to the stream and be like, oh my God, Zod was right. Zod said that it's going to be Justin Bieber. I was just, I don't know what I was. It's just, but it just goes to show the absurdity of everything. I don't get why you would do that. And I don't understand when you know that they know they could have made $1 billion with that Henry Cavill Man of Steel 2 would have paid for itself.
Oh my God, it totally would have. It totally would have. Like, oh. But yeah, it's just.
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here now, APass. But I know that our next stream is gonna be awesome as well. I mean, Oh my God, our next stream is gonna be fire, and this was fire too. And it's always a pleasure to stream with you, and I'm looking forward to us doing many more streams together. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you for having me, and I look forward to the future as well. Yeah, I can't wait for the next stream, and it's gonna be exciting. It is exciting. So
what me and APass are gonna do right now is we're gonna wrap it up. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. This was so much fun to talk and to speculate on this, and I guess the next time that you will see me and APass together, it'll probably be we'll probably do one after
SnyderCon, probably.
After SnyderCon, that'll probably be the next one, and then starting next month, you'll probably see us together more often because there's a lot of other things we'll we'll be talking about. And that's the other thing too. I want to get back to being able to do streams about a lot of other great stuff, not just the SnyderVerse, but there's a lot of topics out there that I want to be able to talk about. So it'll be really nice to finally have some sort of a direction, knowing, okay, we're getting the last two, and it's going to come out over the course of the next few years, and we're going to get these movies. And so now at least we know where we're going, and now we can start focusing on other things too. So that'll be nice as well. It's always fun. But I want to thank all of you for being here, and you can catch us all next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.